All right, welcome back. We have another watch to talk about today. And quite frankly, there is a lot going on with this watch. This is from the guys over at MMI, Modernization, Modification, Innovation, MMI watches. This is your certificate of authenticity that is blank because this is a sample watch that's going around to a few different YouTube channels. I happen to be one of them because I'm in a group with a very cool dude, Kevin, at Wrong Time Watch. So I'll put a link to Kevin's channel down below. Go check him out if you're into watches. And if you're not into watches, well, then click off and go watch one of my knife videos. How about that? I am into both. I started out in knives, quickly over a few years got sucked into watches. I still have a bigger knife collection than I do a watch collection, but I really like my watches. What can I say? I am not a big chronograph person. However, I like to show the watches that I can get from time to time. So this one it's got a lot going on. And this is the correct time. I do have the chronograph going. I can see that the light here is going to mess with this one for sure the whole time I'm filming. So, yay. Anyway, you have a chronograph. You have a 120 click unidirectional, so it only goes one way, dive bezel. You also have a rotating or a rotary date, which, I'm okay with. Yeah. So you can see right here, the orange by the number 8. That's the date for today. It's getting ready to switch to 7. So I think the date is actually wrong because it's the 8th now. Going to be the 9th tomorrow, I think. Right? I don't even know. Let me look at this thing real quick. No, it is the 6th, going to be the 7th tomorrow. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. It's 10:30 at night and I'm filming a video. Of course I've lost my mind. So that is how the date works, and it switches to orange all the way around, which is okay. I am not a big date person in general. If it were my preference, I would have no date on any watches that I own. That's my preference. Some of the watches that I love, they just come with a date, so I live with it. But yeah, my preference is no date because generally, other than when I'm filming a video, I know what date it is. I knew it was the 6th. I just got confused. A good friend's daughter's birthday is tomorrow on the 7th. So yeah, what am I thinking? Anyway, and then you also have, see if we can see it in here, which is true with a lot of chronographs, a tachymeter. And that's the numbers you see around the edge. And we'll talk about how that works in a moment. So this is your seconds hand down below. This ticking hand here is your stopwatch or your chronograph hand. This is your hour of the chronograph. And this is the minutes of the chronograph. I think I have that right. Because I've been letting this run for a few minutes as I was measuring it, as I was doing some research, things like that. So yeah. So you can keep track of a lot of things with this. It's almost too much. I think the dial is a little bit busy for me. That's just my preference. I'm showing you guys, and I would love for you to comment down below your thoughts. Okay. Let's talk about some of the specs. It's a 40 millimeter case, and I have a couple of other watches here to compare to in just a moment. The lug to lug is 47 millimeters with a 22 millimeter lug width with a 14 millimeter overall thickness. That crown here is 7 millimeters, and it is loomed also. The loom on this is pretty good. They did that perfectly well. 100 meter water resistance. Sapphire double dome crystal with 10 layers of AR coating. I don't know that if it's on the outside or the inside, but it's got 10 layers. 6.2 ounces because I'm not a drug dealer, so my scale doesn't do grams. And it's got the Seiko Mecha Quartz movement. So the Mecha Quartz is a mechanical quartz. Huh? The main functions of the watch are quartz. Has a battery that lasts approximately 3 years. The chronograph function is a mechanical function. They claim that the movement is plus or minus 20 seconds accuracy a month. Okay. Really isn't bad. That's less than a second a day. My Rolex Air King, which I'm going to pull out here to compare, is plus or minus 2 seconds a day, I think. Which, well, 2 times 30 is 60 seconds. So that's actually not as accurate as the Mecha Quartz. Now, quartz movements are 99% of the time always going to be more accurate than a mechanical movement. So this is also a 40 millimeter watch. So just to kind of give you a comparison there. And it is equally confused with the lighting. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and stop the chronograph with this top pusher. And the bottom pusher resets the chronograph. So this will go to 0. This should go to 0. This should go to 0. If I know what I'm talking about. Boom. Everything reverts back to 0. Okay. Now to do the tachymeter, it's basically, it's a speed. You can test the speed of a car or a plane or whatever. You need to know the distance. You need to know a 1 mile distance. You start the stopwatch, the chronograph at the 0 mark. And when you hit the 1 mile mark, you stop the chronograph. And then you look and you see, okay, if it will focus. It took 375 miles an hour, basically. So as you go around, so if you go all the way around to like 60 seconds, and it takes you 1 minute to go a mile, that's 60 miles an hour. If it takes you 45 seconds to go a mile, you're at, what is that? 80 miles an hour. So I don't know how well, I don't know that you're really going to use that very often, if ever. But that is what it is for, okay? So let's give you a quick wrist shot. This is not sized for my wrist, but I can show you what it would look like on my 7¼ inch wrist. It works. I think it's a good looking watch if you're into chronographs. They're just busy for me. That's why I don't really care for them much. It is a full over clasp with 5 micro adjustments. Not micro adjust on the fly or anything like that. Just you got to use a tool. One thing that is cool is it does have quick release spring bars. You can see here there is a little nib there and a little nib there. You just got to squeeze. And boom, there you go. I believe they have some other strap and bracelet options, but I'm not sure. The person before me left the sticker on the back. I'm just going to leave it as well. And to get it back on, you just have to line it up and squeeze again, which is easier said than done usually because you can't see. It's in there, but it just came out. If I was smart, I would just leave it out, or I would edit this part out as I struggle to get the bracelet back on. Partially, I'm trying to do it through the lens of the phone. So let me just kind of do this. See, it's easy, but it's not easy. There you go. When you're doing it with your right hand, not your left, and you can see things better, it works better. All right, so it's been under the studio lights for a few minutes. I also did bring out the Seamaster Professional SMP 300, which is a 42 millimeter. I zoom out a little bit just to give you an idea of what that looks like compared. This has a date. I wish it didn't, but hey, what am I going to do? So the lume on the screen is a little bit brighter than with my naked eye. The phone kind of compensates. The crown looks really good. A lot of lume on the bezel, which is a ceramic bezel insert. This does glow for a while. It's BGW9 and Superluminova X3. So it's got good stuff. It is a sandwich dial. And yeah, it looks good. You can start the chronograph, and it is even lumed on the chronograph hand. So you can keep track of all of those things, even in the dark. So all in all, not a bad watch. These were about $420, $450 during the pre-order. They are sold out. I think the price was going to be a little higher than that, about 500 and something when they restock or whatnot. But I'll put a link to the MMI website down below. I'll put a link to Wrong Time Watch channel down below, Kevin, who sent me this. And yeah, there you go. I don't know what else to say. I've already rambled enough. And I think I have caught all of my notes that I made off to the side. So thanks for sticking with me this long. If you made it this long, comment stopwatch down below. I would appreciate it.